welcome to the Big Fight. It's a special edition coming to you live from Delhi, of course, at a time when Anna Hazare continues to be there at Ramleela. Many of the people actually who are in our audience out here, as you can see from some of the caps they're wearing, actually have come from Ramleela, and certainly earlier they were at Tihar jail. And they've been really following this entire movement. It's become a phenomenon. It's being called the Anna phenomenon. We're going to be asking what really lies behind this. Is this anger against corruption? Is this government incompetence, and especially a absolutely bizarre decision to actually arrest him and throw him into Tihar jail? What was whoever was thinking about that? That's a sensible thing to do. Really, that's something which we should debate. Is it just middle class angst? Those are some of the questions that have been thrown up. And of course, the overall question, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right Jan Lokpal bill that the country needs? Is there something slightly anti-democratic about the way the Anna supporters have been approaching it? That's what we're going to be discussing, and we have an absolutely fantastic panel. Such a large panel, in fact, we have to change the entire set just to fit all of you in. I'm going to start moving in this particular direction with introducing Shazia Ilmi, who's a coordinator for India Against Corruption, one of the people behind this really slick campaign. I have to tell you one thing, Shazia, you're certainly making the government look much sillier than it actually is. You're being far more sophisticated in your communication than the government is. Now, sitting next to you, somebody who might disagree with that, Renuka Chaudhary, thank you so much for coming in and joining us.
I think Congress helps us all the time to do that, huh?
They help you in being smarter than they are?
Absolutely.
So they are being particularly dumb?
You know, this is the thrill they're enjoying. Let it. You know, they love all these isms and the slogans.
They are the recruiting agents.
So
they are the recruiting sergeants for Team Anna.
Excellent.
They're the recruiting sergeants.
Excellent. It's good. I'm glad this generation has something to anchor on.
Something to anchor. Okay, fantastic. Next to Renuka, Shekhar Singh, National Campaign for People's Right to Information. You do want a different Lokpal bill. Aruna Roy actually today came up with a different version of the Lokpal bill, but you do think that Shazia and the others in the IAC are being somewhat undemocratic, or certainly being a bit dictatorial as the way they proceed. I'm not sure if you're using those words. I'm going to try and get you to use those.
You said what I should have said, but I don't know. I don't know. I fully agree, but partly.
Oh, you agree with what I just said?
Partly only. The first part,
Shazia,
not the second
he thinks
part.
you're a dictator.
No, the first part, that we wanted.
We have to redefine dictatorship and democracy. I think it depends on this side of the political fence you're on.
Five people are going to redefine democracy.
Five people backed by a whole lot of people.
will define democracy against 1 billion population who breathe democracy for 65 years.
Okay, so I might get everyone to make the opening comments as I'm introducing you, since this is such a large panel. Aman Lekhi, what's your view on this?
So I personally think Lokpal is completely unnecessary. This was a hoax the government was actually initiating for publicity, which has actually been taken over by the activists for their own agenda.
Hang on.
Yes,
The whole Lokpal.
Because
movement
yes,
is
of
a
course.
hoax.
You see, this was the government repeatedly comes up with bills basically to show it's active. Now, Lokpal was supposed to be a publicity exercise.
They are bringing up bills to show they are activists.
Now this particular exercise was seized because the system as it stands has got adequate provision to deal with corruption for it to be supplemented by this particular body, which if it actually comes into being, which create a fourth organ of the government, which will be bereft of all inhibitions and controls, and which will upset the whole constitutional equilibrium. So it is that which I am against, and also the method by which this is actually being bulldozed.
Okay, fine. The audience actually clapped at that. Right. Chandan Mitra and the BJP slightly bemused perhaps at the fact that you're supposed to be the opposition. You're supposed to be getting people marching on the streets. Now suddenly the opposition party and the opposition leader is somebody completely different. You're trying to figure out what to do about
Just because I have a bemused expression to hear my friends kind of squabbling over it doesn't mean that we are bemused. I think the matter is very serious with the kind of extent of corruption that we have seen, and Prime Minister himself admitting that this government is seen as the most corrupt in Indian history.
When did he admit this? Excuse me, please.
Did the Prime Minister say that?
This is quite amazing. Now they are attributing statements to the Prime Minister.
No, he said it.
This is why they're lost in transit, the BJP. You know, they don't know which way they're going or coming.
If you don't,
their left tongue doesn't know what the right tongue is.
This is the problem with them. They're not prepared to listen. They're not prepared to listen to opposition parties. They're not prepared to listen to public opinion.
But do you agree with what Anna Hazare is saying? Can I just ask you a direct question? Do you agree with Anna Hazare's demand and the fact that by Tuesday, Parliament better come up with this particular draft or else?
Anna Hazare is entirely right, and I'm very glad and proud as an Indian that he has highlighted this issue of corruption and brought it.
Let me ask you a specific question. Let me ask you a specific question then. You agree that instead of a standing committee, going into that particular draft of the bill. Anna Hazare's draft is one which should be accepted by Parliament. You agree with that? And that Parliament must do it by the 30th of August.
That is a different matter, and I cannot say this because our leaders haven't sat down and decided this matter.
Okay.
Personally, if you ask me, no, it can't be rushed in this kind of a hurry. But there must be a Lokpal, a strong Lokpal, incorporating many provisions.
I think everyone agrees with that.
Even he has said it.
I don't think anybody disagrees with
Many
that.
provisions of the General Lokpal bill.
So what's new?
Okay, fine. Let me get some more
You
people.
don't want it at all.
Yeah.
You don't
No,
want
they
it.
don't want a
He doesn't want it
Lokpal.
all.
Actually, they
He
want a
never
Lokpal.
said
The
it.
question is which
He never said it.
What
We
is
should be
question
able
of
to
what is
clarify
required or
what
not.
we are saying.
You can't just simply introduce measures because you want something. You don't
Yes,
you don't
you have to
act
think
merely
it
because
through.
on a whim.
Yeah, so
there has to be a necessity.
I haven't yet finished introducing the
We are
panel.
opposed to, we are
She made a comment, I responded, that's all.
Say so, and it will
This
be
is not
very
only going to be the largest panel in Big Fight
Most
history, it's also
argumentative.
going to be the longest
Most well
introduction to the panel in Big Fight history. Vinod, actually, I've heard another view from the government. That it's not really an Anna Hazare movement, it's a media movement. You guys in the media have created this entire thing.
People live.
Yeah, a people live, as she says. Or
So who's Ratha Singh?
sections of the media. Was that,
Definitely not the BJP.
can we...
You're
Let's
calling
face
Ratha
it.
Singh Ratha Singh?
I hate to break this up. Can we just get the rest of them on?
See, I think that, well, of course, without casting any aspersions on Anna Sahab, I do see some traces of Meet John Doe in this whole scenario. You know? मैं आज़ाद हूँ kind of a situation. And I think that I wonder whether some clarity of thought will emerge from this cacophony and that we'll be headed in the right direction. The fight actually is not over the objectives. Everybody agrees to the objectives. The fight is over the means. As to how, in which direction do we go, and how shall we get a strong Lokpal that will be acceptable to all, notably the younger people.
Okay.
And I think
What
that
is-
I think it's a
that-
responsibility that devolves on every single person who is in the decision-making position to give the people
We don't disagree on the
Lokpal they
destination and on
deserve.
the need to crack down on corruption. The
Yes.
argument is over the method and the mechanics that should be used.
Precisely.
Purab Kohli, one of India's best known upcoming actors. Purab, tell us, you are one of the people who's really been supporting the Anna Hazare movement, and you really feel this is the... why do you back it? Why do you back it so strongly?
You know, Vikram, I've spent, I mean, I'm 32 years old, and when you look at any government body, or you look up and say that, okay, what is right in this country? Let's not even say government body, let's just say you look at the system and what decides what is right or wrong. And it all looks very dark and ugly, you know, and when you have to deal with anything, all the methods that you are supposed to come out with are supposed to be like, okay, now put some money on the table, let's do it this way. It's always the roundabout method. You never look at things looking right and correct. So for me, when I see a man like Anna Hazare standing there, he's all white and he's all bright and he's shining, you suddenly see this hero, you know, you see this hero, and I think for me, he's the hero I want to have, you know. He's the guy I look up to and say, now we know what's right, you know, let's function from that point.
So you know, but does that have you studied everything that he said and everything that he's
Well,
done?
you look at the
Or
Lokpal
do you think that everyone will have some good aspects, some bad aspects, and you still would like to see
It's a difficult one, you know. I understand. I mean, I'm still understanding. I won't say that I've studied everything and I have an opinion formed. We are young. We're still forming that opinion, you know. And you look at a strong Lokpal bill and you say, oh my God, you know, when you look at a system that to me right now seems 100% corrupt, and then you say that Lokpal bill coming into place is going to shake up so many things, will just collapse. Everything will just collapse, you know. So then how does one imply that? How does one go and fix it all? You want to then look at all sorts of solutions. So I'm hoping to listen to opinions over here too.
Renuka's been really amused while you were saying that. Renuka, I want to know why you were so amused at what he said.
No, because...
Is there something wrong with what he said? And
No, I'm just amazed at how little of the reality and the mechanics of it and thinking things through has actually been done. These are perceptions, and I was just amazed that this young gentleman here has this kind of a perception without understanding the reality of the issue. At no point has the government ever said, no, we stand for corruption. We have not said that. What is the argument about?